I'm the mother of 4 sons and the wife of 1 husband. Together, we have managed to stay married for 28 years, which feels like 280 years. We have loved, I know no one feels this way, we've loved and we've loathed and we've loved and we've loathed, but we've managed to carry on, and today we are working our hardest at rocking the gray. But I dye my hair gray to look older. So, how do you go from this to this to this? Why would you want to? No, wait. In a culture where there's so much divorce and your heroes in sports and Hollywood dispose of their marriages as swiftly as they upgrade their smartphones. But I have good news. After 35 years of writing about relationships and some 7,000 interviews exploring the mysteries of why love lasts, I do know that most people want long-term relationships, even the millennials. So how do you make that happen? First off, we all must embrace the power of the ordinary. There's real power in the ordinary, in the reliability of a routine, in the predictability of a routine. Yet it's often the ordinary, the predictable, that make people want to bolt from their relationships. When these people are our safe harbor, they remain soothingly constant in a world that is chaotic, uncertain, and insecure. These are the people that are our history holders. The extraordinary is fleeting. The ordinary is the steady rudder of our lives. I've had an extraordinary journalism career, interviewing everybody from Yoko Ono to Mr. Rogers, not on the same day. I had an extraordinary wedding, like many of you, on a tropical island, and I wore an extraordinarily tight wedding dress before the age of Spanx. But the honeymoon is over quickly, and too soon, in 3 years, we were the parents of 4 children under the age of 3. Twins made that happen. And I just remember this day, 70 pounds overweight, having delivered twins in my gray polyester bathrobe. And I thought, that can't eat, can't sleep, euphoric stage of love is into real time now. I'm into the grind of the ordinary. But that euphoric stage of love, it's biologically unsustainable. Our brain chemicals that lead to attraction and can't eat, can't sleep euphoria, that period only lasts 2 or 3 years. That's why the 4th year of marriage is one of the most popular junctures for divorce. That's why a man I interviewed who's constantly seeking the new and he keeps leaving the old, constantly seeking the extraordinary because the ordinary is boring to him. He married 3 Debbies. I met him when he was divorcing his 3rd Debbie. He did not call them all Debbie. There was Deb, Deborah, and Debbie. And he had left. Seriously, you do not want to know this man. And he said, so I was interviewing him, and he said, I don't know, I miss Deb. She's the mother of my children. You think it's me? You think I'm boring to myself? I said, yeah, buddy, I think you got this one. So, but I'll take boring. I don't know, but I'll take predictable. I'll take the power of routine. I know that when I go home after an evening out, doing an event or out with my girlfriends, and I'll get rid of my fancy clothes, and I'll put on that gray polyester bathrobe. Maybe you have one of these, and it's got those piles on it that you could just pick at. And mine is splotch. I've had it since the kids were little, and it's got peas on it, Similac, a little bit of tequila. And I'll come home and I know what to expect. My husband of 28 years will be stretched out in his navy blue leather recliner, drinking a Rolling Rock or a Ling Ling from a bottle, watching hockey, which goes on for 10 months out of the year. I hate hockey, but I will snuggle up next to him, and I'll be so happy for this ordinary, extraordinary life of ours. In a long marriage, and I know some of you know this, it's not always a roaring bonfire of romance, but there's a pilot light that burns deeply in our heart and our soul. When I was in my 20s, 40 years ago, I interviewed a designer named Perry Ellis. Many of you might wear Perry Ellis clothes and not realize there was a real Perry Ellis. I was the fashion editor of the now defunct Dallas Times-Herald. And I interviewed Mr. Ellis when he was at the top of his game. He was absolutely the most famous menswear designer in the country. He was living with a man he was madly in love with. They were soon to be both dead of AIDS. And I said to him, Perry, you're so famous. What does fame feel like to you? It's amazing. You're so famous. And he said something to me that I've never forgotten. He said, fame, there's nothing real about fame to me. You can't take fame to bed with you at night. The only thing that matters are matters of the heart. So, speaking of the heart, I've told you to embrace the ordinary. Remember to embrace each other. My latest research is into sexuality and aging, and I can't tell you how inspired and hopeful I am. I think I'm rocking the gray. You should meet some of my hot grannies, and probably you know them. So I interviewed women and men in their 70s and 80s and 90s who'd managed to stay married 50 and 60 years. And even though they come from different backgrounds and experiences, they all told me that the common theme, as one guy said, if you're not talking, you're not touching, and if you're not touching, you're in trouble. And it might not be 50 Shades of Grey. I didn't ask a lot of questions. But I do know that there was a lot of kissing and cuddling, and one of the greatest things that I found in these relationship stories was that the couples would often just sit next to each other and hold hands, and maybe the woman would be stroking what was left of... Anyway, I digress. But what I loved about it was they said in so many ways that intimacy is a real fuel to long-term relationships. So remember to touch and to remember to talk and touch. My favorite group in this older generation, even I felt so young. I mean, at 62, you're only midlife when you're talking to an 82-year-old named Patricia, who I met at a swimming pool. She was wearing a diaphanous, sheer, long black see-through. This is in Palm Beach. And she came walking into the swimming pool. I remember I was wearing my LL Bean one-piece with a little hole in the butt, and you just love it. It's so camouflaging. And here comes Patricia walking, and she has on this sheer cover-up, and you see this sinewy little body, 4-inch heels, this at the pool, we're wearing flip-flops, and she had this tight black sheer hair, really long, pulled so tight, it gave me new ideas on a non-surgical facelift. But I said to Patricia, you are magnificent, what's going on with you? She said, honey, I'm in love. I hated her at that point. She said, I just buried my husband of 59, and this is typical of this generation of women. I hate to say, and you know this to be true, statistically, women, if they dodge killer diseases, will outlive their men by several years. So Patricia had a great 59-year marriage. Like many widows in Florida, I love Florida because these women rock it. They are rocking the gray. So Patricia married 59 years. She waited the grace period of 2 years of mourning, and then she started dating the widower next door. And she looked magnificent. I wanted her secret. I wanted her intimacy secrets, She said to me, okay, I'm married. I'm dating this man, and I finally decided I'd go out with him. I've never even kissed another man. People would get married at 19. They'd have one partner forever, but then they're dating again. She said, I was as breathless as a teenager, particularly since our first date was New Year's Eve. And he said to me, Patricia, I just have to tell you, I have a temporary front tooth. And she said, my luck, damn, I'm going to kiss him at midnight and choke on that tooth. So, no, she didn't kiss him. However, as she put it, once he got that tooth fixed, one thing led to another. I'm telling you, you'd hate her. She said, oh my God, and she kept saying, oh my God, this man is a gem, he's 85. This man is a gem in every way, whether it be spiritual or intellectual or sexual. It's so fantastic, it's electrifying. If you're electrified, I don't want to know you. However, do have intimacy on your busy lives. There's so many of us in 2-career marriages where we just run around and we're married forever and we think, ho hum, I'll just wear my bathrobe and watch hockey that I hate. But remember to have sex on your to-do list. I interviewed a 62-year-old couple, and they were like one of these that weren't only hand-holding, they were like lommed onto each other. You wanted to leave. It was too much even. Wanted to take a shower. So you said to them, I said, what's your secret? And the man said, we have sex once a week. I said, really? And then the woman leaned over and said, yes, every Wednesday. I said, really? No, really, that's so spontaneous. Okay, finally, I told you to embrace the power of the ordinary, embrace each other. This might be the most important one. Never expect anyone else to make you happy. You must do that for yourself. In the early years of our marriage, I remember, and I use this old gray bathrobe often because I still have it, and I just don't want to throw it away because that old bathrobe I've had as long as I've had that old Chuck, who's a little younger than me. And, they are our history holders. But in the early years, I was sitting 4 kids under the age of 3. I'd left my extraordinary journalism career, and I was just thinking, I hate marriage. Marriage isn't making me happy. And I used to always call my therapist friend Leslie, who gave me free advice and didn't charge me. I said, I hate marriage. It's not making me happy. She said, Iris, lower your expectations. Hello? Expecting marriage to make you happy is a ticket to divorce. And indeed, all of us will go through loss in our lives, changes in our lives, but we know that we can handle every loss and every season and every change in our lives if we learn right now, not only in marriage but in life, that we need to learn to handle our own happiness. I learned some really important lessons about life and loss and love from my Holocaust survivor mother, who was born in Poland, Iris Krasnow. She lost her immediate family, parents and siblings, and 7 nieces and nephews in Hitler's death camps. We were taught early on, her 3 children, about the eggshell-thin line that separates life from death. We were taught early on that the people we love most in our worlds could be snatched from us in a finger snap. We were told over and over that family is everything and to love our loved ones while we have them within reach. Her wisdom and her tragedy and her joy is really at the core of who I am and why I've spent a lifetime talking about and researching and writing about the power of family and the power of long-term relationships if you can weather these waves of malaise and boredom. I think tequila helps. But, after interviewing thousands of couples about the nature of love and some remorse and some regret, we all know to get rid of stubborn standoffs and push through. You can't say, I'm sorry, let's work it out at a funeral. So as I stand here today, I've lived more life than I have left to live. And this is a juncture where a lot of people say, I only have 25 more years. I'm going to go find something hot, new, and extraordinary. Well, there's something really extraordinary, as many of you know, and I hope most of you know, about our ordinary lives, about the steady rudder of our lives. And I'm even starting to like hockey. Thank you.